Welcome to Navigating the Customer Experience. Want to improve your organization's customer service? Looking for insider tips to knock your customer socks off? Then you're in the right place. Here's your host, Yannick Grant.
Welcome to Navigating the Customer Experience. On today's episode, we have with us a very special guest, and his name is Daniel Edwards. Daniel is the CEO of Total 180 Image Consulting, a business initiative and service tailored for the motivated modern male professional, and one which Mr. Edwards created to productively combine his three passions: personal development, psychology, and passion. A trained public speaker and presenter, Mr. Edwards recently launched his series of Total 180 workshops, the first being through corporate client Sagicor Life Jamaica Limited, to further his holistic approach to image consultancy and personal development. With over 2 decades of successful experience in the sales industry, Mr. Edwards is also currently a senior sales executive at Caribbean Assurance Brokers Limited. Prior to this, he was a financial advisor at Sagicor Life Jamaica Limited, where, among other things, his achievements included being seated at the internationally acclaimed $1 Million Roundtable. During his time at Sagicor, Mr. Edwards also created, ran, and marketed his high street clothing brand. An experienced performer and lover of nature, Mr. Edwards is also a proponent and practitioner of meditation and diverse self-improvement practices. So without further delay, welcome, Daniel.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
It's an honor to be here.
Okay, so before we actually start to get into the meat of our interview questions, we always like to give our guests an opportunity to share with us, on a more emotional level, like who you are, what brought you to where you are today. Just tell us a little bit about yourself in your own words.
Okay, I am a financial advisor. I sell primarily insurance and investment products to Caribbean Assurance Brokers. But I'm very passionate about my new venture, which is Total 180 Image Consulting. And I feel that it's an initiative that is very necessary right now in Jamaica, where men are really feeling and falling behind in a number of areas. So I feel compelled to push this mission.
All right.
To, reinvigorate the males in Jamaica now.
Reinvigorate the males. That's very amazing.
Wake up call.
Amazing. Now, in terms of customer experience, how has that been for you since you started business? Like, what's your view on customer experience as a business owner now? Because now you're playing both roles. You are an employee, but you also run your own business now where you are an employer. And how has being an employee impacted your leadership skills as it relates to, doing business with customers where you manage that whole process now from start to finish?
Well, I've always been a believer in under-promising and over-delivering. So I try to extend that to my venture. That's really what it is about, and focusing more about being of service and adding value than about money. Because if you do that first, then the money will follow.
All right, Daniel. So you shared with us a little bit about your view on customer service, and you believe in your passion and everything. What are some of the challenges that you believe young men are faced? Why it is you are compelled to start this business called Total 180?
Well, a significant percentage of the males in Jamaica today are raised without fathers. So as a result, there were a lot of guys being raised by women. So you don't really get those little extra tips and instructions that a man needs to give another man. Mm-hmm. So you might say so the daughters are okay because their mothers can teach them how to dress and how to put themselves together as women. But they fall short with the men. So you end up seeing guys now going to graduation in sneakers, or going to a job interview like they're going to a dance, etc. They don't have a male figure to really show them how to put themselves together.
Understood. So those are some of the challenges that you believe the men are faced with. Culturally, in terms of where we are, we're an island in the Caribbean Sea, Do you think that it's because of our culture why you think the men are challenged in such a way, outside of the parenting aspect, predominantly being exposed to, female influence? Do you think that the Caribbean culture also impacts us at that as well?
Caribbean culture?
Jamaica. Some of the influences socially that we have, no?
I don't know, because our parents generation practice that stuff. It's really more of a recent departure. I don't know if it's a cultural thing. Not quite sure.
Okay. All right. Could you tell us a little bit about why you think image is so important? I recently heard you speak, and you spoke a lot about image and that people buy you based on how you look, not necessarily, even though perception is reality, sometimes our perceptions are not necessarily correct.
Right.
Why do you think image is so important, and how does that really impact customer service?
Well, it's not just about the image, it's really the image plus communication skills, but everything begins with the visual.
Right.
And our impressions are formed within seconds of seeing someone.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes these impressions are set in stone within seconds, and barring you doing something exceptional, they don't change.
Right.
So the first impression is the only one that matters. But then now, beyond that, we have to have the communication skills and the service to solidify that reputation and really give the client a great experience. So we have to be all-rounders. We have to have the look, and we have to have the package.
Got you. So Total 180 prepares the young men for that. What's the duration of the program? I mean, getting somebody to attire themselves in a particular way and have a particular image, how long does that really take? And is it just the physical, or is it like a mindset change as well in terms of how they feel about themselves?
Well, my ultimate goal is to have a kind of a holistic approach. But you have to start somewhere. So I started off by creating a workshop on dressing for success.
Mm-hmm.
So we look at the psychology of the first impression, the psychology of color. We look at how suits should fit, the power of a suit. The psychology behind wearing a suit, how you think differently and feel differently when wearing one, and people treat you differently. We go into accessories. We show you what colors to wear, like as in suits, what suits to wear and not wear.
Mm-hmm.
Accessories, because male fashion is all about details. And then I eventually want to get into other stuff, public speaking, all of the components, all of the tenets that are required to make you
successful.
Successful and make a bold impact when you step into a room.
All right. What are some of the role models that you would probably use to drive inspiration in the persons that you're trying to transform?
I definitely like Steve Harvey is a good example.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Harvey, Diddy, Lee Chin. I'm pretty much fans of all of the self-made black millionaires.
Okay. And you definitely want them to connect with someone that looks like them so that they can see that this possibility exists.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, can you tell us, how do you stay motivated every day?
I stay motivated. I use what we call operant conditioning.
Mm-hmm. Could you explain that to us?
So we all do things either to gain pleasure or avoid pain. So operant conditioning is where you try to avoid pain. So pain for me would just be living a life of drudgery, getting old, getting sick, and then dying. I want to live a purpose-driven life on my terms, and have an amazing life.
Okay.
And I can only do that by really running my enterprise and pursuing my dreams and my passion.
All right. So you mentioned passion. Do you think it's important as a business person to really be passionate about what you're doing in order to really be successful? Because some people are in business and they kind of just do it because, it's a sure money maker, but in terms of the passion that they put into it, there's just none there.
Well, I don't know anybody who is hugely successful whose purpose isn't aligned with their passion. Those are to me prerequisites. There are a million businesses out there and ventures that can garner a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
But every entrepreneurial enterprise requires grit and determination and perseverance in the early years. It doesn't turn a profit. So if it's just about making money, you're not going to put in those extra hours and deal with all the disappointments and the failures and the near misses unless you're passionate about it.
Right. Very true.
So you could hop to a million business ventures, but you're not going to be successful.
All right. Now, in terms of your own business, Total 180, is there a tool that you use or a resource or a website or an app that you absolutely cannot live without? Something that, boy, if that app or that website or that resource disappeared tomorrow, you'd really feel like a fish out of water.
I do like Pinterest a lot.
Okay.
This is cool. Instagram. But I don't think there's anything I couldn't live without. I'll find a way regardless. But these are extremely helpful.
Right.
Pinterest. Because I can just, somebody want, like, let's say I'm doing a wedding for someone. I got a wedding stuff. I might want to tell the groom what to wear. I can just go on Pinterest and get that outfit together and say, I want even that. That's specifically what I wanted to wear.
All right. Very cool.
I have a infinite plethora of ideas I can find there at my fingertip.
A good resource.
Yeah.
All right. Now, in terms of your own personal development, Daniel, what are some books that have had the biggest impact on you? Either a book that maybe you read in the last 6 months or maybe something you read when you were 15 and it just really stuck with you to this day.
I'm an avid reader. I do believe you should try to read a new book every month, even though I haven't really stuck to that this year. But I would say the last book that really made a big impact on me was The Way of the Superior Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, The Way of the Superior Man. And what was that? What one talks about pretty much how men should deal with women. So it's about the masculine and the feminine and how they should dance together and not wrestle. Fascinating.
And the author of this is David Daida. Is that how you pronounce his last name?
I think it's Daida.
Daida. So The Way of the Superior Man, a spiritual guide to mastering the challenges of women, work, and sexual desire by David Daida.
Yeah.
Sounds like a powerful book.
Yes. Are
there any others that you would recommend that have had a big impact on you?
4 Agreements.
The 4 Agreements.
4 Agreements. Yeah, it's a Toltec book. Toltecs, I think, were like the ancient Indians in Mexico. The 4 Agreements. Yeah.
And this one is by Don Miguel Ruiz and Janet Mills. It's a practical guide to personal freedom. All right. So 2 powerful books that we can share with our audience. Those of us listening to this podcast today, Daniel has shared with us.
And one more book that's very important is called Triggers by Marshall Goldsmith. I think. Now this one basically just shows you this guy is a high level psychologist, and he is a trainer for CEOs. So that he'll go into Ford and train the CEO, you name it, Chrysler, that level. So basically, he's showing that a lot of our behavior that is inexplicable or destructive is really based on triggers to prior events in our lives. It's associated with prior events and then it's triggered. So when similar situations occur, it triggers it. So once you're able to decipher what these triggers are, then you can make changes, permanent changes in your life, without being confused or beating yourself up wondering why this happened.
That makes sense. That sounds really powerful. Is that the one by Marshall Goldsmith and Mark Reiter? Very good. So we have Triggers, we have the 4 Agreements, and we have The Way of the Superior Man. Excellent. Very good. All right. Thank you so much for sharing those with us, Daniel. We are going to have them in our show notes as well for those of you that are listening so that you'll be able to have direct access to them immediately. Now, Daniel, we have a lot of listeners who are business owners and managers who feel they have great products and services, but they lack the constantly motivated human capital. If you were sitting across the table from that person, what's the one piece of advice that you would give them to have a successful business?
You must incentivize your workers. They need to feel that they have a vested interest, and they must be able to create a variable paycheck then. So they need to know that if they put in a little more effort, they can dictate their paycheck.
All right.
So if the guy's coming and he's just getting a little flat salary, and he's very aware that he's building your empire for you.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he going to stay there for 12 hours? Or why is he going to go above and beyond? As soon as 5 o'clock comes, he just want to go home. That's it. He's out. So he has to feel as if he has a vested interest and he's a part of this enterprise. So he can do that in intangible ways by how you treat them, but also he needs to know that, okay, if I put in a little extra, I'm going to get some money.
Do you believe that most or all employees, based on your experience, are motivated financially? Do you think motivation kind of comes from something else as well?
That's why I said it's a combination. So feeling as if you have a vested interest doesn't necessarily only translate to more money, you know.
Right.
Part of this business that you're invaluable and that your input is leaving an indelible mark in the company.
All right.
And then it should also, and then now if you have a system wherein your staff are rewarded based on their merit, then they'll work a little harder too.
Very true.
All are we doing the same? So one person is a superstar, one person is just slumming it, and everybody getting the same paycheck. After a while, the guy who's a superstar, he's gonna take it down a few notches. Because there's no incentive for working so hard. What's the point?
Very true.
You have to reward him, and if you reward your staff on their own merit. Because I mean, there's a motivational speaker, I think his name is Max Meyer. I don't know if he pioneered the quote, but he said if you're doing just enough not to lose your job, your boss is going to pay you just enough to keep it.
That's a very good point. I like that quote.
You just going to do just enough.
Very true.
And also empower your employees and show them, put them on a plan. So when somebody comes to work for you, put them on a plan immediately. You create a situation where they're aware that this is where they're beginning, but in 5 years or 3 years, this is where they should be next. You should be empowering them to be on a trajectory towards success.
True.
Get a next set and a next set. It's not a static situation.
Ever evolving.
Yeah.
All right. Can you share with us what's the one thing that's going on in your life right now that you're really excited about? Either something that you are personally working on to develop yourself or develop your people.
What is exciting is this business blossoming. I mean, I did the Caribbean Speakers International recently, and it was really a mind-blowing experience because I've never done something like that before. I've done talks before, but I've never spoken without a script. So that was I felt like I grew 5 years in one day.
Wow. Very good. Very good. So you're hoping to do more speaking engagements where you get to really shine that part of you.
Yeah, man, I'll do that right through my life.
Very good. Now, can you tell our listeners where they can find you online?
Yes. So right now, the social media aspect of my business is very weak, but I'm on the verge of really. I have a social media manager hired and I'm creating content. So very soon. Right now I have an Instagram, Total 180, just the word Total 180, no dash. Okay. No numerals. I have a Facebook page also.
And that's the Total 180 spelled out. TOTALONEEIGHTY, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So they can go on or do you have a website?
I do. I have the domain name, but I haven't put any content on it yet.
Okay.
Everything is brand new. And then I have an empty YouTube channel. So I think by next week I'm going to start creating. I bought some video equipment, so by next week you're going to see weekly videos from me.
Very good. All right. Now, before we close our interview, Daniel, we always like to ask our guests if they have a quote or a saying that during times of adversity or challenge, they kind of revert to this quote or saying because it helps to refocus them, re-engage them as to what their true purpose and passion is in life. Do you have one of those?
Well, I had some slump years in my career, so none of things have turned around for me. When I'm about to make major steps, I resort to the bad memories, and then I start to have the limiting self-talks where I say, but 3 years ago, this wasn't working. Why do you think this is going to work? No, what qualifies you, etc., etc. And I heard Les Brown, who is one of my favorites, he said, operate using your imagination, not your memory.
Operate using your imagination, not your memory. Very good.
So you don't, because once you go back to your failures, sometimes when you go back to your failures, it's crippling for you.
True.
Say, 2 years ago, I couldn't do it, so how can I do it now? And then you just talk yourself out of it. Use your imagination.
True. There's so much more, right? All right. Well, thank you so much, Daniel, for taking time out of your busy day to share with us some of your own philosophies on your journey in life, the successes that you've had so far, and also a little bit about your business and what it is that you have to offer. We look forward to interfacing with you even more. For those of you that were listening to this podcast, you can connect with Daniel, as he indicated, through Facebook and through Instagram. And you're on LinkedIn as well, Daniel?
Yes, I am.
So he's on Facebook and he's
I also have Twitter, yes.
And you're on Twitter. And so Total 180 is the key indicator to connect with Daniel. And you'll see more content coming from him, as he indicated, that will be coming within the following week. So feel free to connect so that you can see when this new content comes out, so you can stay connected to how it is that you can really build up yourself in the areas that he focuses on. So thank you again, Daniel. For those of us listening, just reminding you that you can connect with us through our closed Facebook group. That's Navigating the Customer Experience Community. And you can also follow us on Twitter at NavigatingCX. So until next time, I'm your host, Yannick Grant. We really appreciate your support of this podcast. Are you ready to grow your business even more? Or improve your leadership skills? Or train your team members in the art of customer service? Give us a call at 305-848-0815 or visit our website at www.yannickgrant.com. That's YANNIQUEGRANT.com. Remember, 305-848-0815 or visit our website at yannickgrant.com. Our new online course, Mastering Customer Experience and Increasing Your Revenue, is now available. The link for this will be on the show notes of each episode starting September 7, 2016. The first 2 modules are free, so hop on over, have a look, and take the steps to increase your revenue.
Thanks for listening. For more awesome resources to take your customer service game to another level, head over to navigatingthecustomerexperience.com. See you next time.